before we get into the video, I just want you to note that I'm by no means slating the game at all. This is just my deep dive delve into the weapon systems themselves. All right, watch all the way to the end to see what I mean. So yeah, we'll see you in there. Guns. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about 0.4 update and the weapon systems that we're going to be coming with it. There's some thoughts I have about them. There's some thoughts that the community has told me about them. And we're just going to introduce them as a weapon system, talk about our thoughts on the weapon itself, how it's going to be introduced to Grey Zone, and what actually to expect from the weapon system from a personal point of view. So let's just jump into it, shall we?
L43 A1, the elite SAS firearm.
So the L403 A1, think of it like the British Special Forces version of an M4. All right, so it's 5.56. Looks like an M4, shoots like an M4. It weighs like 3 kilos, 3.1 kilograms unloaded. Yeah, it's an M4. It's a 5.56 variant, another M4 variant. I reckon it's probably going to have the same interchangeable barrels, probably the gas parts, probably the buttstock, probably everything else. It's probably going to need your old MOE on it. But yeah, it's an M4. We got another M4. It's a British M4.
The classic M14 A1.
M14 A1. It's an M16. It's not a lot we could talk about with the M16 because we all know what it is. You know, a lot of games nowadays like to think that it's a burst rifle when it's actually not. It's your everything rifle. Does it even have a burst function? I mean, probably, but it's not, as you can tell, it's probably not my favorite weapon. This is one of those weapons that's going to look really nice with your 20 round magazine and your old school parts put on it. I think a lot of people that do your old school Vietnam look loadout are going to love this weapon. However, I just want to show you something. Here we are in the game. Click vendors. Click gunny. Scroll a bit. Go all the way down to the bottom of this bit. What do we see? What do we see? What's that say? What's that say? What's it say? You know, I might be wrong. That was an M16. Yes, I understand it's basically just the receiver. You're going to be probably putting an M4A1 or a CQA1 lower onto it and then just filling out with everything else. And the weapon system that they're talking about is probably going to be the full weapon system. So, you know, with the classic M16 front, the classic M16 stock, which is, you know, classically a hard stock, and everything else that goes with it. Do I think it's going to look cool shoving an ACOG on it, going, you know, like old school? Yes. Do I think it's necessary? Probably not. We could make one if we really wanted to. I think I did once and then binned it off. You can find them quite often as well, you know, the M16 lookalikes. This is, you know, it's one of those, if they, you know, I get why they added it. It's a good idea. I just personally think that the time it took to make the model for that M16 may have been misplaced with something that they could have put into a different weapon system. Personally, I don't think it's a bad idea. I still think that it's going to look awesome and that it's going to be welcomed into the game because, let's be honest, it's a Vietnam-esque environment. There's people out there that like to play it Vietnam-esque, if that's even a word. I think you know where I'm trying to go with it. But I also think that we can make something that looks similar already. However, the full weapon system, I understand it. It looks good for the environment.
Battle rifle M14 and M1A, including legendary variants like SOCOM 16 and EBR.
If you're wondering what the difference is between the M1A and the M14, one of them is fully automatic capable. The other one's semi-automatic capable only. Which is your single fire options for those that use different words. Yeah, that's the difference between them. It is not my favorite weapon. I don't know why, but I've got something against the M14 and the M1A and the M21. I've got something against that weapon system, and I don't know what it is. I think it comes from like old games like Call of Duty 4, where, you know, you had the M21 and the M14, and it was just a single shot battle rifle type jobby. I think I believe it's got something to do with like the US military's parade rifle or something. I don't know whether they still use it. I don't know. I'm not American. I can't comment. I think this has got its place. I think it's got its place in this setting. Am I going to use it? No, I'm not. It's not my weapon system of choice at all. I'm a 5.56 kind of guy, whether it is the meta or not. I like 5.56. I like .300. I like things like an MP7 to play around with. Hence, I have an airsoft version of, you know. Yes, it's the one you see in the back of streams. If you join streams, it just literally sits back there. Has it got its place? Yeah, I think we have rifles that we can make, marksman rifles, you know, that in between a sniper and an assault rifle. You know, they had a love child and turned out to be, there's basically an M4 with a fucking great scope on. I like to put a little 20 round magazine on it. I have a DD-M4 that I use for that because I didn't have any other use for it, so I just use it as a marksman rifle basically. And it works, and I think the M21 thing, the M14 thing, the M1A thing is going to have a place. I'll be excited to see it in videos to see how people use it, and I reckon a lot of PvP players are probably going to have a lot of fun with it. My only issue is going to be mag space, especially if it's a weapon system that's going to be fully automatic. Fully automatic going through 20 rounds is going to be fast. So I think people might use it as it's my marksman rifle, but also if I'm in the shit, I can just literally spray and pray and be happy.
VZ58, the legendary Czech firearm.
So we got another AK. That's to go on to the list that includes AKM, AKMN, AKMS, AKMSN, AK15, AK74M, AK74N, AKS74U, AK12, AK19, AK308, and this. So this, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. You know, we've got another AK. A lot of people have. When I've been asking people during streaming, a lot of people have been like, "Yeah, actually, I really want that weapon," and I've always followed up with, "We're like, why? I don't really understand why." We've got a lot of AKs, man. We got a lot of AKs. I like AKs. AKs are versatile, which is why most militaries have an AK. You know, if they haven't got their own weapon system, like, you know, the British currently, as of making this video, we've got the SA-80 that are going to be slowly moving over to that M4 thing. The US has their M4 AR-15 type thing, the M16 and everything like that. And, you know, the Australians, I believe, use the AUG, I think. The French, I think, use the FAMAS. If, you know, they have their own weapon systems. If you don't have that, it seems like the general consensus is you have an AK. So fair enough, you know, fair enough. It's versatile, reliable. You can get parts fucking anywhere that isn't in England, and it's a damn good weapon system. Do I think that we need another one? Not necessarily, however. I'll go deeper in that later.
Remington Model 788.
The 788 is a very similar weapon system to the 700. The difference is basically one thing, and that's where the lug bolts are. The 700 in real life has more aftermarket parts so you can fit onto it, whereas the 788 is slightly lesser. I think the bolt pull is slightly smoother on one of them, and in real life that's basically the differences between them. They're both Remis, which means they're incredibly reliable. Believe it or not, the Remington actually was the base weapon of the L46, if you're interested. If you're not, fair enough. We've got another Remington 700, but different lug bolts. Do I think hopefully it might come as something else? Yes, it's maybe. I mean, if it was me putting it into the game, I would have it with maybe a slightly longer or slightly shorter barrel so that it doesn't make it as similar. But then thinking about it, you've got the AK MSN and the AKM and all the other different AK variants. There's very minuscule differences that aren't necessarily noticeable, so they might bring something else in a little bit later on, maybe. However, if I was to look at them side by side from a distance, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. You know, if I held up the two rifles and stood back a bit and was to say, spot the difference, if I was just to bring it on screen and off screen very fast, you wouldn't really be able to know the difference unless you're like a mega super Remington M series nerd. However, anyway, let's move on.
Norinko M201C.
I think that weapon is the T51, but different caliber. I even think it might be the same weapon model within the game. I've not met anyone that likes using the T51 apart from flip-flops. I've been shot many a times by a guy with a flip-flop, and most of the time it bounces off my plate 6 or my recon armor. I don't think I've ever been kill-shotted by a T51, actually thinking about it. Maybe when I first started the game. Anyway, it's a T51 with a different caliber, I'm led to believe. Does it have its place? Yes, because it means that we can have flip-flops with a little bit more variety. Thinking about that, actually, you know, the other day you might have seen one of my shorts, and even if you were there on stream, I shot a flip-flop in the gas station outside of the starter village, and he had an MP5. That's the first time I'd seen it, which is in the update just before 0.4. So hey, there's nothing else I can say about the T51 that's a different caliber. That's about it, really. A little bit disheartened at it, to be fair, but it's got its place, so we'll leave it to have its place.
And the rare handgun from Laugo Arms called Alien.
So I brought this up in stream, the Alien, and my good friend, lead moderator, one of my lead moderators, and comes in every stream. Bless him, shout him out, NotSoAverageMac. Good guy. Go and visit him. He's on the green app and the purple app as well, and on YouTube. He's excited for the Alien. I'm not a massive pistol user, and when I am, I'll use the Glock, because I like the Glock. I used to fire the Glock a lot. I'm a good shot in real life with the Glock. That was a while ago mine, so I'm probably a little bit more wobbly now. However, I can trust the Glock. I've used the Glock, and I'm happy with the Glock. Stick a fucking suppressor on it, stick a red dot on it, and I'm an happy guy, all right? However, the Glock in real life has got so many different variants. There's even a fully automatic one that we all think was what the Glock's going to be every time we pick it up. That's got so many different variants and different calibers that it can, you know, have, that maybe we'll see that in the future game. Maybe we won't. Who's to know? The Alien looks cool. That's a new model of weapon. That's a new weapon. It looks smart. However, if you're an airsofter, like I occasionally play, doesn't it remind you of speed softers? Because it does for me, which means I'm not going to use it unless I'm testing it out. But hey, you know, I could be speaking out of term here because, you know, that's just airsoft stuff and it's got nothing to do with the gaming community. However, you know, I think it's going to be a good weapon system. In the video, which is new content packed into 0.4 Grey Zone Warfare, which is the second devlog for 0.4, please go and watch it. I'll link it below. It says that there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of new weapon parts to go on. The thing to consider with that is that, does that mean that they're counting for different color variations as well? So for example, let's use a buttstock. Just to think of an MOE buttstock. You can get a black one and you can get a brown one. Does that count into the hundreds, or does that mean that we're going to get, you know, hundreds of different things, or just have hundreds of different things with different colors and they're counting that as the difference? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. That's going to be cool. It means that we're no longer just going to have, you know, everyone's just going to have the M4 with a Riz rail and a, you know, 16 to 18 inch barrel, because 20 inch just doesn't quite fit anymore, with a DD front grip and a nice buttstock with either a Spectre or a Razor sight or whatever you guys that use sniper scopes use. I personally like your normal red dot or a Spectre, and that's about as Gucci as I go unless I'm using a sniper rifle. So, you know, we got hundreds of new weapon parts to go with. Now I'm going to sound like I'm being negative about the game, but this is the only way I can explain it. Touch of autism and a touch of ADHD and a little bit dyslexic, so bear with me here. I would like to see bullpup in the game. People have problems with bullpup, and the people that have problems with bullpup have never used bullpup. It seems to be the general consensus. I'm ex-military. I used to fire the SA-80 A2, and I like bullpup. I have fired M4 type things before, and I've fired pistols before, obviously. And weapons all fire differently. Fuck me, you fire a GPMG and it's going to feel different to the M4 and it's going to feel different to the SA-80. You know, the main problem with the SA-80 is its fully automatic reliability and the SUSAT sight, because that was my era. Other than that, the weapon system was fine as long as you fired it on semi-automatic, but that's mostly just down to the fact that the weapon has been through about 1,000 different fucking soldiers before it comes into your hands. Different story. Do we need another AK? Is my question I'd like to ask the community. Genuine question. I really would like to, read the comment section and see what people think. I think people that are native to where the weapon is, brought up, I think they are probably going to like it, which is cool. That's fair enough, and I appreciate that. I'd like to see AUGs, SA-80s, things like that coming into the game, because that's a massive variety then. We've then going to have, conventional AR-15 variants. We can then have an SA-80 variant, because they all use the same mag anyway. An AUG, I don't know if that uses the same magazine. I don't know. I've never fired it. But things like that, it's all very different things. And yes, okay, they're all 5.56, and they want to come away from the 5.56 meta, which they do mention in the video. But at the same time, we can still have different weapon systems, because the same 5.56 round put into an SA-80 standard, and then put into an SA-80 carbine, and then put into an M4A1, and then put into an M16, it's all going to fire different. It's going to have different velocities because of the barrel, because of the way that the weapon is made, because of the way that the gas parts are, and because of the way that the compensators are put on and everything. There's science behind it. It's not just the round that matters, it's the weapon system it fucking gets flown out of, alright? So there can be different variations in that way, and I don't think that we should move from bullets having different damage systems to then the weapon having different damage systems at all. But accuracy, velocity and stuff, fucking right, because it does have an effect on the bullet itself. The ballistics of the bullet depends on the weapon system as much as it depends on, what the actual casing is packed with that sends the fucking round itself. However, I am happy with the weapons that are coming in. I am a little bit disheartened about what they are, but I'm excited to use the British one, that's for sure. I think it's going to be my main weapon. Whether 5.56 gets fucking nerfed or not, I'm going to be using it because I'm a British boy, obviously. I just think that we didn't necessarily need as many AKs, and we've got one more. We have another M4, we have another Type 51, and another M700. I'm not slating the company, I just don't know how to explain it in a better way. I have so much respect for Mad Finger Games. It's unbelievable. They respond to every report a player puts in, and they respond to every message that I've sent them without fail. And for a developing company to be doing that, fair fucking play. Because, the messages I sent them were during the 0.4 building phase, and they still responded. Fair play, because they're busy as fuck. They're busy as fuck, and yet they're still responding to messages, responding to reports and stuff. So fair play to you, Grey Zone. Fair play to you, Madfinger. Like, you deserve a fucking clap for that. Fair play. Like, GG's, mate. GG's. I think this update is more aimed at storyline, lore, and how the map is going to look. Going on the other side of what I'm talking about, we need to remember that 0.4 is more about lore, is more about graphical improvements, stability, optimization, and things like that. We need to remember that about 0.4. People are concentrating on the weapons in 0.4, which is understandable because we hold them every time we come into the game. We also need to remember that there is the enemies. Fuck me, they look awesome, but that's a different video. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about. I feel like I've slated the game when, please know, if you've made it this far, you know that I don't mean to slate the game. I'm fucking excited for 0.4. Genuinely, I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. There's a reason I play this, and this only on stream, and that's because this game is fucking awesome. So, developers, there's a small chance that you're going to be watching this, but if you are, I fucking love the game. And I don't mean to slate it. It's just the only way I can explain it. People that come to my streams know that I'm always going to be straight to the point. I'm not going to beat around the bush. All right. This is why HR hates me. I'm always just going to be straight to the point. And even this video, I feel like I've beat it around the bush a little bit too much. The game's amazing. Know that. And if you are a developer and you're watching this, know that I appreciate everything that you do. The community appreciates everything that you do. But you also asked for feedback, and here it is. This is our honest take. I'm not going to concentrate on the weapons coming into 0.4, although I'm going to note that they are awesome. Don't get me wrong, that L403 thing, is going to be awesome, but it's just another M4. As always mentioned, you know that I'm a streamer. I predominantly stream on Twitch, but I also live stream to Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. I'm on all of them, so whichever one you want to come along on, please do feel free to come along. But please do come along to Twitch, is where the best interactions are, is where I've got Tangier, is where I've got Blurp, is where I've got the fact that you can fucking electrocute me. It's where the most of the community are. We've got a Discord server, you'll find it. All you got to do is spend 2 minutes on the fucking homepage of the YouTube, on the Twitch, on the Kick, you'll find it. So please do come along. We've got an awesome community here. We've got veterans, we've got normal people, and we've got everything. All right, we're happy. We've got everything going. Come and join the TOS Troopers. See you in a bit. Have a great day. Salutes out. 07 apparently also means salute. Anyway, so yeah, 07. Goodbye.